We're looking at the thorny issue of racism. Are you a racist? A video has emerged of a group of Cambridge City Councillors referring to Fenland people as badly educated racists. Now, councillors were talking about the wider issue of the rise in hate crime in a meeting last week. This is in Cambridge. The video shows Labour councillor Cllr Baigent talking about his experience of speaking to the people of Fenland whilst campaigning. Here's what he said.
Some of their responses were very polite in Cambridge. People don't want to talk to you. They go, I'd rather not, or thanks very much, but in Fenland they had a different response, that it wasn't at all pleasant, and a lot of it was extremely racist. So we do need to recognise it.
Yeah, it is not the best quality, but what Cllr Baigent was saying, some of his dealings in Fenland with you have not been at all pleasant, and a lot of it was extremely racist. Now, he wasn't the only one making those sorts of comments. Councillor Pete Roberts was also filmed discussing his opinions and experience. He pointed out that former BNP leader Nick Griffin once worked in Fenland, and the aspirations of some locals were very low.
It's no surprise that one of Nick Griffin's first jobs was working in Fenland, teaching the Portuguese community English. A couple of people mentioned like Fenland, obviously years ago, I was in the parliamentary cabinet for the Labour Party. It was a horrific experience. It was unsurprising we weren't exactly very popular.
Well, that's Councillor Peter Roberts. Councillor Rod Cantor said he'd noticed a difference in political opinion as soon as he got outside Cambridge.
I've been campaigning outside the city in Cambridge for Europe, and it's amazing how as soon as even if you get to Histon and Impington, there is a different feel. And it was striking how they do have a different view of the city, even then, even before you get to Wisbeach.
So what is going on here? Is it just a bit of Cambridge elitism? Or, you know, we're better than you and we can do it better? Or do they have a point? Is racism alive and well in the Fens? The councils claim they were pointing out that maintaining social cohesion in Cambridge was easier than it was in Fenland. But the comments have been condemned by the leader of the county council, Steve Count. He said, this is an abhorrent thing and people really need to understand what goes on in our communities a lot better than they are just jumping to conclusions. Whilst Fenland County Councillor Sam Hoy described it as smug superiority. So are the people of the Fens racist? It's just another example of a bit of elitism leaking out from the bubble that is Cambridge. Richard Taylor is a blogger. He filmed and edited the video in question. Richard, morning.
Good morning, Paul.
What's going on here?
Well, first thing, I just say on the quality of the sound is that we do have a right to go in and film the council meetings, which is why we've been able to get this, what happened out, and why we're able to discuss it and why it's been reported. But councillors are still not entirely supportive and cooperative when you go in to film them and get this kind of material. So I'm only able to sit in one place at the press desk, and I don't get a feed from their microphones.
No, we're glad to have it, Richard. It's not a criticism of the quality.
It's just I wanted to just explain that they're not helpful, and so I just do the best I can.
Yeah. What are they afraid of? This sort of thing.
Yes, I think it is. I think they would rather, some of them, like I think the really good councillors really love having people commenting on what they've said. But of course, when they make comments like this, the last thing they want is for it to be discussed and reported on. So, and I think that the people of Romsey need to know what Councillor Baigent has been saying on their behalf, because every councillor is speaking on behalf of thousands of people, and he's speaking on behalf of thousands of people in Romsey. And I don't think in this case he would be reflecting their views. I don't think the people of Romsey do have these views about the people of Fenland. I think it's just perhaps, but it's been suggested by the Deputy Mayor of Wisbeach, Steve Tierney, that he's a bit bitter after his experiences in the Police and Crime Commissioner elections and the experience he had when he went out and met people in Wisbeach and in Fenland. There
have been accusations from some of the councillors we've spoken to off-air this morning that this video has been heavily edited and they've been taken out of context.
I always put the full videos up, so the full video of the whole council meeting is published both by me and in this case by the City Council. So the full video is there for people to see, and of course they don't ever levy these accusations on the TV news or on the clips that you would put on the news. And of course, to get people interested, you've got to clip the interesting bits, and that's exactly what I've done here. I've clipped the interesting and controversial statements, and I do think in Councillor Baigent's comments about the fact, or claiming that when he went out he found that people were rude and racist in Fenland, that is sort of the core of the story here. But Peter Roberts was talking about his experience standing for Parliament in Fenland, and he described the experience as horrific. But I think he was actually quite upset at some of the things that he found in the state of the schools there and the state of people's attitude to education. So I don't think he was calling people uneducated, but he was surprised that some people didn't see the point of sending their children to school when they were challenged, when there was a truancy in one of the schools that he was involved in.
If you're living in Fenland this morning, though, and you're listening to this and you're hearing what the councillors in Cambridge are saying, you must be feeling like like the uneducated thicko at the back of the class being talked down to by the prefects.
Well, I hope that they realise that it's not the people of Cambridge, it's just one or two of our elected representatives.
Doesn't bode well for devolution, does it? This disconnect. Do people in Cambridge and councillors in Cambridge know how other people live?
Well,
we don't all ride a bike to work.
I think that is at the core of the problem, because and the issue is one of immigration, because we were talking about the consequences of the EU referendum and how people have voted in the EU referendum. And in Cambridge, of course, the people who, the immigrants that we see tend to be, they're highly educated, they're working in the universities or in Addenbrooke's, but in Wisbech, the immigrants are very different. They're coming trying to find quite poorly paid jobs in agriculture industry, and the people's experience of immigration is different across the country. Where I grew up in Wrexham, there was lots of asylum seekers were placed in one of the estates in the town, and when you have different types of immigration, it causes different types of problems, and people are experiencing problems with immigration in Wisbech. We've got people moving into Fenland and Wisbech who are not there really to exercise their right to work.
Do you think these councillors are shielded from all of that, and they don't realise what people are having to go through?
Yes,
and why they're behaving in such a way.
That is the core of the difference. Is that immigration is unquestionably a positive thing in Cambridge. Because of the kinds of immigration it is. It's people coming to study and to work in high-end jobs. And immigration is a very different thing, and it's a very different experience for the population of Fenland. And that's the divide that we've got. And of course, and our councillors haven't really grasped that. Instead, they've assumed that the people of Fenland and Wisbech are being rude and racist, when they're not. They're just experiencing something very different in terms of the impact of our EU membership and immigration.
Richard, thank you for that. Richard Taylor, who filmed and edited that particular video. Without him being there, we wouldn't know what goes on in these meetings, would we? We wouldn't hear these things, these unguarded comments. Lifting the lid on local politics and some of the things that are said in these meetings. If you do live in the Fens this morning, how do you feel about